What's up, D?
What's up, folks? Welcome to another Crab Walk of Shame Twitch stream. My name, as always, is Demetrius, and today I am joined by my homie Habibi Ali. He's here with me today. Check him out. There he is.
How you guys doing? I'm trying to get better at the lighting. Sorry if I am overexposed.
Overexposed. Yeah, I guess we're both going to get a little bit overexposed today because we're talking about some pretty heavy stuff, from my estimation.
Probably, man. Probably it'd be kind of impossible not to. I think.
Nah,
I think. But yeah, man. Well, I want to hear everything you have to say about it.
everything I have to say about it, man, that's pretty
Yeah,
open
it's
ended.
it's been, honestly, it's all happened so fast that I feel like we haven't got a chance to break it down even a little bit. So yeah, what do you think about all this?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts, man. I mean, most of my thoughts, the bulk of my thoughts are more so about nature of the media, stuff like that. Kind of looking at the way that people have responded to it, and just, I mean, just looking at the whole thing, really, just like examining, like, what is this, Because I mean, everybody knows it's definitely something beyond just that incident that occurred. Like there's really some things happening, lots of things happening. So many people are involved and connected to it and thinking about it, and it's just that's been my whole perspective and take on it is just looking at this whole web, man, and of course looking at the incident too and saying like, yeah, man, that was messed up, but also there's a background and history to that I don't really know about or understand. Like he knew the guy, he had worked with him before, the cop. So again, I
Which now
don't.
there have been like two, I think more in the past like 48 hours. Which are you talking about? The first George Floyd.
Yeah, the big one that has kind of set off all of the
Right. I didn't know that.
responses
I
and
didn't know the cop
stuff.
knew him. I knew the cop had a lot of reports against him, like 18 counts of being a dick
The
before he did what he did. That's the only thing I knew. I didn't know they knew each other.
Yeah, I don't know. They'd had some kind of past. I mean, you know how it is with coworkers sometimes, though. You work with them, but maybe they didn't really know each other that much. Maybe it was just
Hmm.
kind of casual acquaintances.
Hmm. I mean, that doesn't really justify it at all, though.
The
It's like I knew the guy, I didn't know the guy. It's like, well, you did something to him, whether you
Yeah,
knew him or didn't know
yeah.
him. Is
So
there
yeah,
is
man,
there
that's.
reports that there was bad blood between them? Do you know about that or what?
I haven't gotten too deep into it, man. Like I said, I mean, I haven't really been looking too deep into George Floyd, like the person, because it's like, to me, it's like, why? I mean, it's like, again, the incident that happened, that was bad enough, but it's like, I don't know the guy. I don't want to go into the history of him or
Sure,
anything. Like, that's
sure, of
kind of
course.
irrelevant to the whole thing that's
Right.
happened, I think.
True. It's very true. His personality. I'm sure he had a personality. Everybody has a personality, but the fact is, his life is gone. Not more
Right.
than any person.
And it's almost like with the right wing news, sometimes it's like they turn into kind of a jury over your life after an incident happens. Just like,
Mm-hmm.
hold on, let's review everything in his life to see whether he was a bad enough person to actually deserve this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of messed up, and it's like there's no dignity. There's that Julius Caesar play, Shakespeare's plays, and I always like that line that his friend Mark Antony says after the funeral. He's like, "The good is off. Let's bury Caesar. Let's not. The good is off interred with their body. It's all gone. Like there's no reason to talk anymore. Shit on him. It's all done. He's gone."
Huh.
And we don't really have that when it seems to matter the most. You know, like I agree with you. We don't need to be highlighting every detail about his positive personality, but man, there does seem to be a concerted effort to put in a negative light on victims' personalities.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
So it's tough because I think maybe you do too. You just want to always be some kind of balance, or you don't want to tip the scale one way or the other because you can be so easily manipulated that way. But there's such a imbalance here. How do you tip? How do you tip that scale? Does it require action? Does it require a little bit of mindlessness? Does it require sheepishness that media is so good at, or do you take any stand? I don't know.
I mean, you can take whatever stand you want. It's just when you're talking about those types of people that want to look for, that want to dig through the past and find like negative incidents to paint you in a bad light. I mean, I think those types of people just, I think to me, that's kind of like a just world fallacy. It's like, I think they want to see some kind of excuse of like, this happens only to people that deserved it. If it happened, he had to have deserved it for some reason. Like they just
Mm,
have, a lot of faith in the system and stuff. And it's like, no, the system has to work. The cops have to be here to protect us only, only if something bad is about this person. I got lost in the
yeah.
sauce.
No, I think I know what you mean. Like it's a way of maintaining the status quo essentially. It's there's the right and wrong is drawn in how you paint a person's death. They're either a
Yeah,
victim or
yeah.
they're a hero, and that's how you celebrate what they stood for. And we don't do a good job of celebrating what people stood for. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
some people can, man. It's like, again, I think it's all your choice. It's just, I don't know. That's just when you talk about the throwing dirt on them, it's like I said, that's just generally, again, that just generally to me seems like it's coming from right wing folks that just, again, it's just faith to me.
how much of this have you heard about this stuff? Like these bricks that are showing up at these protests and stuff. These piles of bricks that are just kind of showing up magically.
Yeah, yeah, the chaos.
Yeah, I'm not to go straight into one thing specifically, but that's one of those things where we try to stay clear-headed about this stuff. We try to hold people accountable based on evidence, but then you get something like that, and it's like something is not right. Something. Who would supply that for what reason? That's what I wonder. It's like to me, one thing that's for sure though, it's a certain deterrence from what really matters. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Whether it
yeah.
was the protesters who did it, whether it was police that did it, whatever it was, it's a surefire way to say, I'm going to have you forget what the name of that guy was who started this whole thing. His name was George Floyd, but we won't remember in 2 months if these bricks keep showing up. I think it's a weird strategy, man. I'm always extremely, and I see a lot of critique of that, but I am critical of protest only because we need to do it. It's the only way to do something to affect any change. So when I see things like that, I'm kind of wondering what's really going on, and is this something we should be a part of, or is this something we should be criticizing? I feel like me criticizing those bricks even right now, there might be people out there that might be like, "Hey, fuck you, man! Like we got to show this rage. We got to use these bricks to take things down." I'm not exactly. I don't think that's exactly constructive.
Yeah, no, it's destructive by nature. I mean, yeah, they're bringing the bricks there. Honestly, I almost think it's worse to be the person bringing the bricks because it's almost like in one of those mafia movies, like sliding the gun across the table to the person over. Like you know what to do with this.
Mm,
I mean, you're basically telling them go carry out this job.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. It's. I would just like to take it. If we're going to do it, take it seriously, and it seems like something that is worth taking seriously too. I feel like these tactics, these maybe you can say inefficient tactics, it can wear down the desire to do anything. You know,
Yeah.
it's
No, definitely.
misdirection of energy, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't do anything. It just wears down the energy to do something, and that's what's really fucked up. That's what's
Yeah.
really upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, are you just talking about the specific energy from this event? It's just going to get worn down?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. I think it's gonna, you know, I was telling to my roommate the other night too. I was just thinking like the thing that upsets me when these things kind of happen, besides the fact that we're ignoring what the root cause of it is, it gives so much ammunition to the status quo opposition to say, look at these dudes who are not, who are being destructive, who are taking the shit down, who are, it gives them such an opportunity to do that, and it seems like they're turning our swords into double-edged swords, and that doesn't seem fair. I don't know how to hold the handle, in order to actually affect change. I have ideas, but I don't even know how. I honestly, I'm a part of a couple of different Facebook groups, like protests and where they're going to be, but they don't. To be completely honest, and I mean this with a lot of love. None of this is to be destructive here. They don't seem very efficient. They don't seem to. Uh, they don't seem to be carrying a message. They don't seem to be saying anything besides show up, and that's something. We do got to show up, but are we? Do we have leaders we can go to? Who did they look like?
Yeah.
Do we
I
think they?
mean, yeah, kind of, it's the protest without having any leadership. I mean, it reminds me of, same thing with Occupy Wall Street. It's like back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, I supported that. But
Yeah,
yeah, it suffered from that whole thing of like no cohesion. I mean, it's like everybody there has a different idea of like, or just a different chip on their shoulder that they want some resolution to.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true, and that's I've been protesting since I was a little kid, man. Like that was something my parents brought me into, to see as an effective way to be a part of a community. And there's always people with different causes that protest. There's even if it's I remember back in the way back day in 2005 with the Iraq protests that I would go to in DC. That was the first time I really saw, oh, this is a repeating thing. That even though you're there to do anti-war protests against Iraq, you're going to see free Palestine. You're going to see stop treading on me. You're going to see all these different groups that kind of seemingly oppose each other. They're gonna they're gonna be there at those protests, and it's actually a good thing, in my opinion.
Well, not about diversity of opinion. It's just, but there's no big overarching main one.
Sure, sure, sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think there's no question about protest overall. The thing that it is a symbol, right? It's a mass collective of people, and there's a power in numbers. And I just think, why not create a symbol that actually uh, I'm about to sound like Batman. Why not create a symbol that, like, strikes fear into the hearts of the enemy? Why not? Why just do this kind of this symbol where we look like we don't know what we're doing? I was thinking like the power of a protest where everybody is wearing suit and tie, where you're wearing the status symbol that the establishment really cherishes. I think that would freak some people out. I think that would be they wouldn't know, like, this person come from my board meeting out and join the protest. Am I vulnerable now? That's a powerful way to do it, I think. But I don't know if we're not doing it because of laziness. I don't know if there's because there's a different strategy actually in play. I don't know if it's because it's total anarchy. I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
You said you've been talking to your uncle. You guys talk about this stuff. Is he have anything to say? You remember last time he
um,
dropped in? He gave me some wisdom. I don't know if you remember.
yeah, that was actually my brother. I mean,
Oh, that was your brother. My
not
bad. My bad.
to
My bad.
not to be Mr. Technical over here, but yeah, that was my brother popping in. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, he's into that kind of stuff. I mean, my brother, he basically again, he's just super kind of outsider, cynical. Just craps on the whole thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. He talks
Does
about
he ship
stuff.
some? I was messing.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, no, no, it is good. It's good to have that outside perspective for sure. Most definitely. But I don't know, man. Do you feel like do you? I guess that's one of the fundamental issues I'd like to get to is apathy. Is it worth combating apathy in these times?
Is it worth combating apathy? I mean, to people who feel it's worth combating apathy, sure. I mean, it's all personal perspective. I mean, is it worth combating apathy? I mean, if you ask me, I'd say no because I'm apathetic. So
You're
no,
what?
apathetic.
Apathy. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can people not hear me? Am I? Is this thing on?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a lag, but yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, man, I understand. I do understand that, but there's also to me it seems like a paradox to know that there is a problem and to be apathetic to it. Though I
uh,
understand it, that's what we're discussing is how that apathy is forged. Um, so it just seems like such the paradox of our time now. It's like it's so reasonable. It's beyond reasonable to be apathetic. It makes total sense. I wouldn't understand how a body could come back as a collective body like ours. How it could come back um, after everything we've gone through and everything we clearly refuse to actually address. How do we actually do anything? But it seems like because of that, it's like all the movies we watch. It's not like when we watch the heroes discover that there's a problem, they go, it's the end of the movie.
no.
They usually become extremely, not to be redundant, they become heroic, and we go on that hero's journey that we talk about all the time. And that's another thing I've wondered: is it possible? And this is maybe a little bit sidetracked, but is it even possible to go on the hero's journey anymore with the age that we live in, where it's like there's no evolution of ourselves? We're kind of very complacent with lack of growth. I haven't deleted my Facebook account since I was 18 years old. That can't be healthy. You know what I mean? We all change. We all change. We all grow. We all adapt. But I mean, that's a little bit but side stuff maybe. But I just wonder how necessary is growth and what impedes on
I mean, when you talk about what are you trying to or trying to solve the problem, I guess to me it would go toward what problem are you trying to solve? Because to me, again, it's just like the messaging of these protests is just sometimes so abstract. It's like an idea like, I want to end racism. And it's like, well, yeah, that's a nice idea, but how would you take practical action towards such an abstract idea like that? You can't just pass a bill that says end racism. It's like you got to break it down, I think, into something that's more specific and more actionable. Like, I want to do something about X or Y, something that can actually,
it. Right.
I want to create a fund that helps keep black youths off of the street, stuff like that.
Yeah. And they're out there though, right? Like, do you follow Sean King at all by chance?
I probably don't.
He's a journalist out on the East Coast, and he does a lot of good work. Um, and yeah, he addresses all those kinds of things. And like, that's why I pay attention to him, because it's not, he makes it so from the abstract to, oh yeah, that is something that's affecting my personal life that I keep forgetting about. Um, I don't know if you've had this experience, man. I know we've all had some maybe crazy nights or something, but like I was thinking when this whole thing happened, I was thinking about my personal experiences with police. And sure enough, there's one that always just like jumps straight to mind, right? And it's just like that wasn't right. And then slowly I started remembering these other ones and these other ones and these other ones. And I got more than lucky in each of those situations because I came out, quite frankly, unharmed. Um, but it was very close to getting there. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's right, police forces. We're talking about policy. You know, these are the guys enforcing it, and they're doing it all the wrong way. So this guy Sean King, man, he's broken down about how we need to reform the training of police officers, the recruitment of officers. How many of these guys have been in the KKK before they joined the force? You know, this is what systemic dismantling looks like, I think. So it doesn't seem impossible. It's out there. These avenues are out there. But why aren't they not so? What is it still about our apathy that doesn't want us to grab onto the solutions?
I
What is
mean,
it? I mean, I'm in this. This is me knowing about these guys who are out there, and I'm still wondering, what's it going to do? What's it really
uh,
going to do?
what's it take to compel you toward action?
Hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Kind of,
Um,
yeah. Even when you know you need to take it, but you
mhm.
feel, I don't know what that feeling is. You feel like you don't take it.
That almost feels like, when you know you need to go to the gym, you know you need to eat healthy,
Yes.
you know you need to do a whole lot of stuff, but yet, you kind of kick the can down the road or something.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly that feeling. Yeah. Do you have that ever? I'm sure you do.
Oh, what, that feeling of not doing what I know I should be doing? Yeah, all the time, man. All the time. That's my whole life.
Do you think it's more an American thing for us than other parts of the world?
Nah, man, I think it's just
Human
like you
nature.
said. I mean, we live in an age of consumer culture, man, and almost to me, like, it's like, see, that's kind of just the thought I just had right now. It's like, man, a protest is almost like a consumer culture version of change. It's like
Mm.
I purchased a little change today. I went, I did my thing. Okay, now I can go back home and check, catch up on Netflix.
So it's the commitment that bothers you too. It's like how much are we really committed to the change, not so much the
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that what you
because
want?
it's like I think we want it to be too convenient, man. I think people want stuff, but we also want to maintain our comfortable life. And it's like
Mm.
real change, it's long, it's complicated, it takes time. You got to jump through hoops, you got to gather money, you got to collect volunteers, you got to organize, stuff to happen. And it's like that's an interruption into anybody's life, especially when you already work a full-time job at least and are living some kind of like social life, with hobbies and stuff. It's like when does anybody have time for all that?
Mm. So it's like you feel like it's almost like destined to be insincere just because how busy we really are.
To a certain extent, man, yeah, because it's like who wants to pile more on, if most people probably already feel like they're dealing with a lot in life.
Mm.
Like, who wants to honestly say, like, yeah, man, I want more duty, more burden, more responsibility in life?
You know, it's funny. So you call it like a burden, like duty and burden. They don't like here. Tell me if you've ever gone through something like this. Like when you're like you said, you were hip with the Occupy Wall Street movement. You went down there, maybe
I
participated
didn't
in
go
it.
down there, but I mean, I was even worse. I was even worse consumer. I consumed through the internet.
Oh, I mean, I just mean when it's not that I don't think people want to contribute. I don't think it's people wanting to half-ass it. For me personally, sometimes I feel like if I were to commit myself 24/7 really, which in a way my feelings are around it, but it's not like, you know, the work that needs to be done. I feel like if I did that, I would wonder how effective I'm being. Do you ever feel like, you know, because how hard sometimes people are fans of something, it just turns you off from being a fan of it? If that makes, you know what I'm talking about. I do that with
I
Twisted
mean,
Metal
vaguely.
Batman all the time. I was a huge Batman fan. If I started talking to somebody, I turned them into a Superman fan. They just couldn't stand it. But that's, I mean, I wonder how much. And this is, I'm afraid to ask this, especially publicly, but it's like how much can you put your foot on that gas pedal? You know, how much good is that doing? Do you need to take a break sometimes and, you know, really focus on other parts of your life? Uh, if you do comedy, is it okay to go ahead and make jokes? You know, this is a very serious time where we're asking everybody to be extremely focused and serious. Does even a joke break that? Maybe, maybe. I know. I've wondered about that, and that's a frustrating thing to wonder about because you like that's also a part of identity. So you know, there's a thing I think called fatigue. You know, all sorts of protest fatigue and all those sorts of things. You know, do you how if you're committed to this thing, do you have to be 24/7 committed to the end and leave no room for levity?
I don't know, man. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. Again, I don't think there's an objective answer. To me, it's
Sure. I was getting
subjective.
what
It's
you think
about
on it
like,
though.
I mean, if you're trying to achieve something, I mean, again, that's you got to fit that into your life, man. I mean, if you want to run, if you want to finish the Boston Marathon one day, you got to fit the training and stuff like that into your life. You got to find a way to make all that stuff work. I mean, you got to find a balance, in terms of work and training and social life, family life, all that kind of stuff. I mean, and how
Well, those
important
yeah,
is it to you to see it to the end? I mean, how important is it to you to see it to the end? I mean, that's that to me is where your commitment comes in.
and I wonder if it's what do you think about it? But like, I think part of one of the most efficient ways for bigotry or prejudice to go away, I think, is some exposure. I don't know if you've been there, felt that or not. You know, people are usually afraid of something until they're around it and they realize. I mean, there's a whole therapy based on that, right? Exposure therapy. Um, and so one thing I feel like sometimes is that because we're not seen or because you're not valued on the screen the same way somebody else is, it's probably good for you to be more there, to be more a part of society, to be more present in order to actually hope to ever be seen. But is that enough? Is that vanity more than it is seeking collective
Who
acceptance?
who are you saying you want to have exposure therapy?
All of America.
So you want them
I
to
mean,
be exposed to what? To prejudice? You want people to be exposed to feelings of prejudice?
no, no. Expose them to things they're not comfortable with, to people they're not comfortable with. You know, there's a whole pocket. If I just drive 15 minutes, 20 minutes south from where I'm at right now, you and I would not be welcome. I think
Hmm.
it would be very interesting to somehow restructure uh, where we change that, expose ourselves to one another in a healthy way to
Hmm.
overcome those prejudices.
So you want to
I
be
mean, it's a big.
accepted into those communities?
I guess I want those communities to know that I'm around. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they know.
You know.
Oh, they know. They don't like it.
Well, I mean, they know the idea. They know the
Right.
idea of me. They don't know me yet.
Right.
You know, and that's what I want to kind of change a little bit. I don't blame them for having an idea of me, man. Have you seen True Lies, man? Have you seen
Man,
the '90s movie? You know, these
you know
are
what that
these are
makes me
what's it?
oh man, you know what that makes me think about is like I was thinking like, because I had the thought of like, well maybe all cops aren't bad, but they need to do a better job of keeping an eye on the bad ones. And I thought about that and I was like, man, substitute out cops, and that's what they say about literally everybody, man. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, not all Muslims are bad, but, they need to keep an eye on those bad ones. It's like they say that kind of stuff a lot, and it's like, So, I mean, to those types of people, that you're talking about who are like, they just don't like this group. I mean, to me, it's like a person who doesn't like cops. It's like, well, okay, this one is good, but I think they're still going to have, it's just something about the group, man. I don't know. They don't like the collective.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand. I think if people, it should be by now very understandable when somebody says like, I don't like cops. There's a reason now. There's a whole the country's burning because of it. There's a reason behind it. If somebody's like, I don't like you Muslims, I might be like, what's your reason, man?
Man, they're
You know
going
what
to
I
tell
mean?
you, man. Have you watched any right wing news? They're going to be like all the normal stuff, the
Sure.
propaganda.
Sure. I think that stuff is great because it's exactly, at least in my, I guess you can go on the perspectives of this thing, but like personal perspective, but it is propaganda and it's a blast. This deconstructing propaganda, man. It's a satirist's dream. It's just to deconstruct propaganda. It is bull. It's baloney. It's not baloney to dislike police. I don't think. You know, there's some serious bad apples, and they're policing us. They're in charge of the policy that runs the rest of our lives. Muslims don't do that. That's not their role. They're doing their own thing. That's not their job. It's not their qualification. Why are we calling them? It'd be fine maybe if they were just a club. They
The,
changed their name from police to the big bad badasses or something. I don't know. I might be a little bit more forgiving of them, to be honest with you. Just go back to being called KKK. Fuck it, I'll say it. It's
the,
like, I don't give a shit. If you're gonna do that, there are clubs for that. There are clubs for that, and I actually hope that they join clubs, and I hope those clubs are extremely rigid about who they let in. You got to be committed. Just like you said, if you're gonna be committed to something, don't half-ass it.
no.
If you're gonna serve and protect, do just that, and not once in a while stay silent when you know something seriously is going wrong. And it's having an effect, man. It's not like something's going wrong and we can kind of all get away with it. I mean, buildings are being torn down, man. It's wild.
Yeah,
It's wild. And
man.
of course, I know I'm not trying to point the blame at all the different directions. They have that old saying: you point a finger at one, then three fingers get pointed back at you. I don't. I know there's a lot that I can do personally. You remember the meeting that we had at the mosque? The one we did a while ago, some years ago.
Yeah, man. I remember.
That imam. I don't know if you remember. I'm first off, I was insanely appreciative that they allowed us to do that. That was really cool, and I was extremely anxious, and that was good for me personally. So I'm thankful. Um, but over the time, I've been thinking like, I don't know if you remember, I was kind of wanting to figure out how do we take some action as far as policy towards police accountability and all these kinds of things. And the imam's the host of the thing was he was pretty much saying, focus on being a better human being, try to pray, try to donate, try to fast. And I don't know if you remember this. This is really like he was kind of going more and more back to the spiritual inner solution as opposed to the external solution. And that, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I was furious. I was like,
Uh,
man, that's not what I'm wanting to get accomplished here. But I mean, he had every right to. And the truth is, that is amazingly good advice that he gave. That I probably should have reacted to a little bit more patiently, because all these things, the change that we want to affect, if we want to affect it, if we think it's just enough to affect, we have to be a little bit more in control of ourselves. We have to be more ourselves. We have to have some ownership of ourselves.
right.
And you can't have that too much. I think it's hard to have that in America. I think consumerism in general makes that hard. I think we all sell our souls just a little bit.
Yeah. Now
Trying
we're
to
all
fit in.
trying to purchase an identity.
Yeah, that's a brilliant way to put it. Yeah, yeah. It's hard, man. It's hard. So it was good advice, and I wish I hadn't, you know, I wish I took it in a little bit quicker. Maybe I was a little bit perhaps wanting something else, but
Yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to be satisfied with the nature of the world, especially when you believe that things could be better. If only you did something, this unspecified, unknowable action that could just cure it all. Yeah, I get it.
yeah.
It's
What
hard to
I
be
mean, not
satisfied with that.
I know it is. It really is. But like, it doesn't seem like these are totally uncontrollable requests. Turn on your body cams. What's up with that? You know, I still don't understand that. This thing is going bad again.
Yeah, man. See, and that's the hard thing too. Is like, man, legislation is such a slow process. I mean, it's like again, even forming a advocate group, man. It's like forming an advocate group might be a little bit easier, but the legislation necessary to put pressure on them, I guess, for that kind of thing. Again, it just crawls, man. It's so slow.
Hmm. You think it's intentional?
The I don't know. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe they're just trying to bore you out of wanting to do this stuff. Just like fill out this form and no, I don't
Right.
want to do it.
Right.
No. You got to email a congressman or something. I don't know. Get them on
Yeah.
board. Get them to, yeah.
Yeah. You ever see Joe Rogan's most recent special, his stand-up special?
I don't know. I might have seen
Just
parts of it.
the one thing I liked really from that whole thing was talking about like how America's past is not that distant. It's three people ago.
Mm,
As far as the 100 years of lifespan of things. So just
right.
it was helpful for me to think about that just because it's like when I'm really pissed about the slow nature of progress, I think about that. It's like, oh, of course it would be slow, man. Of course it would be slow. We are very much stuck in ways that aren't too far away from what was very popular. Like this used to be
Yeah.
popular. Remember, racism used to be really popular. I guess it still is.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, to me, it used to be more honest. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't understand the forces that have taken place over society. Like, I talk about it a lot just because I can't help it because it's just everywhere. Like the SJW thing of just like tone policing and policing words, and people are just so careful to just avoid doing the slightest thing. And then recently they were upset about Jimmy Fallon playing Chris Rock, and it's like, what? He
oh yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
playing Chris Rock, and it was a sketch, and people produced it, and it was what I. So yeah, man, I don't get what's going on. I don't get what's going on in society. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, on that, it's again, history is sometimes comforting. Just remembering that we are founded on Puritanism. Yeah, like that is so ingrained. No matter how left wing anybody is in this country, how much they want to say they are, um, that puritanical course just it's in them.
No,
It's there. People want to control how people behave, and it's as close as it can be to their ancestors. And
no.
it's fucking bizarre, man. It's fucking bizarre.
Yeah, wanting to control how people behave. That's exactly what a lot of this is. It's just, but to me, it's like it seems disingenuous because they want to control how people behave, but they're using this excuse. But to me, it's like, nah, they just want the control. This is just an
Right.
alibi.
Right. Right. Yeah. I wonder if it's that, and I mean, you're probably right to the point that people are self censoring in a way that I think is flat out dangerous, man. You know, you can. I think there's all this media out there that does kind of push a message of some kind, and okay, whatever. But when you start pushing that message internally, when you start doing that stuff yourself. Like the one thing I think needs to stop as soon as possible is this whole idea of like, and very similar to this cancel culture. You see it on Facebook or something, like unfriended, unfriended. I don't see it anymore. And it's like, would you put a
Yeah, because you've
blindfold
been unfriended.
on you? Just if you had murders outside your house, would you just say they're not there? It's like just look around. If you're threatened by it, even that's especially when you should see it, right? I mean, isn't a threat something you do not ignore?
No.
And the truth is, the real truth is, it's not a threat. It's not even a threat. It's just a point of view. It's an opinion. And there are dangerous opinions out there. You could say that. I mean, opinions that promote violence, reckless, unreasonable violence. But I think if there's ever anything in a group, you're going to be checked on some reasoning at some point. As much as they're fucking evil human beings, the Nazi Party has some reasoning. They have a platform. They have something. It's we have to be ready to see each other no matter what, especially if it's a threat. So I don't get this whole thing. Just like, don't block me. If I don't see you, you don't exist. Uh,
Yeah, man. I mean, it's this day and age. I'm trying to do some promotion here, but it's this day and age. It's just like it's easy to live in the bubble, man. I mean, it's easy to live in the bubble of just what you want to see and hear, and shut everything else out, man. I mean, honestly, it's crazy. It's like because I was thinking like Facebook in general is kind of dumb to me. I don't get it. It's like I casually met this person one time, and now I want to follow them for life and get constant pictures of them doing stuff and hear what they think and like hear about their engagement, who they married, divorced, like why did we get into this is what I start asking myself about Facebook. Like it's weird. Like I mean I
I
think it
think
made sense in college, but outside of that, like I don't
that's how
get
it
it.
really started. It was all about hooking up.
Yeah.
Initially. I mean, seriously, it was all about you find out who's going to be in what class, and I like this girl, and maybe I can. It was all weird stuff like that. It was nothing profound. It was nothing deep. Um, but I think there's something also about the celebrity culture that we have in our country. We don't have royalty, right? Like we don't have our kings and queens, but we do have Beyonce and Jay Z, or whoever else it might be. Those are our royalty, and I think there was a part of
Yeah.
that that we like to crown each other as opposed to
Interesting.
given that over to.
Oh
I
man.
think there's a part of that that's true. I don't know, but I mean, obviously, we all want to, be Jay Z.
Yeah,
I don't know who doesn't want to be Jay Z, man.
that's true.
Um, so, and maybe these things are naturally going to happen in society. So, I don't really blame Facebook for much, to be honest. To be like, even the stuff recently. I love. I think it was the Onion that posted that thing after Mark Zuckerberg said he was not going to fact check anything. It was like, child molester Mark Zuckerberg dead at
Uh,
78, and it's just like, it shouldn't be their job. Are we not smart enough to fact check our own shit? Isn't it kind of too late if that's you're just gonna swallow everything whole without processing what it might be? I think it might be too late.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the nature of social media. I mean, I guess it is kind of messed up, but yeah. But no, I mean, my issue with Facebook is more so like why these people, because I've again been switching kind of to Twitter more so, and it's like, see, with Twitter it's easier because it's like it seems to me more like you follow people based on what they say, what they post. But Facebook is more like you add people based on who you know, but will you like what they post? They might be like, you don't, why
Do you like
this
the
person,
personality first more than the content on Facebook?
huh?
Is it like you like the personality more or first on Facebook as opposed to
Well, you
the content?
encountered the person, yeah, so it's like it's because I
I mean, I
know
get it.
you, so I want to know everything that's going on in your life kind of thing versus hey, this person makes interesting content. Let me follow them to consume interesting
And
content.
I've never done Twitter, so is it really that different on Twitter that it's not people that you know as much? It's like
Well, check it out. I mean, if you were to join Twitter right now, what would you do?
tell a joke, tweet a joke or something.
Yeah, and it's funny because I do that too. But
Yeah.
no, but if you're on,
Sorry, not to break, but
so I mean, if you're on Twitter and you're sitting there, you got no friends, you got no feed. I mean, what are you going to do?
I have no idea.
To me,
Yeah, I have no.
I mean, to me, it's like you would go looking for people to add to your feed, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, 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 yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So if
Right.
you're adding people to your feed, you're trying to find like who's saying interesting stuff. To me, that's the thought
I
process I followed.
Is there like a general page of everyone on Twitter, or do you like go to tags?
Yeah,
Make
you
sure
can. You
it's.
can do that. You can do that. They have explore options. They suggest people to you. I mean, there's a lot of different ways.
I feel like this quickly became a commercial for Twitter.
No,
Just
check it out.
shitting all over Facebook. Yeah. No, I was gonna say Twitter. I am very surprised. I talk about my roommate all the time. Like I'm very surprised how long they've lasted. I thought it would. I thought people would get so bored with it in the first like month. Like just coming up with really clever one-liners because it's all about the restrictions, right? There's a restricted amount of characters you can
Mhm.
use or something. I mean, it's great for jokes, but then at the end of the day, it's like I don't know. Sometimes I want to talk longer than 25 words. I don't know. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just seemed oddly arbitrarily or I get the I don't know. It seemed like
I
a
mean, you
cool thing for
can.
us.
Yeah, I mean, you can basically fit like a little paragraph. It's basically a short paragraph. But it's crazy though because some people, they just the Twitter threads, they just keep replying to themselves, and so it'll be like maybe 10 Twitter posts long, and they basically,
That's what Trump does, right?
yeah, basically just write like a short essay.
Right, right, right.
But I don't know. I mean, that's where people's attention is. It's on Twitter, and so it's like
Now,
that's
have
what you
you
got to
okay?
do, I guess.
Kind of connected, maybe loosely, but have you noticed like on news websites, like their news content is becoming? It used to be like a lot. Now it's just a paragraph. So many of these
Mm,
news sources are just kind of summing up the news in a paragraph. I kind of
yeah.
hold Twitter responsible for that kind of thing, man. It's like, why do we have to, you know, all ideas, all your personality has to be condensed and put in this block and fit in? Man, it's like we're so much more than that. We're so much
Yeah.
more than.
I mean, I also think it's
I
just the
guess.
smartphone.
What's that?
I also think it's just the smartphone, just the size of it, just to be able to see the whole article just real quick.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, that's true. I just feel like you lose so much content. You lose the importance of
Mm,
the article. They used to put these things in context of what things meant in the world, and now it's just like a snippet and not supposed to
quick
go into more
blurb.
detail about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually the picture that makes you feel the emotion, and it's just like and there's no follow up. There's no easy way. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. I guess where I teeter with my focus like is this intentional or is this accidental?
I don't know, man. That's kind of difficult. I mean, who
I feel
knows?
like a
That's
lot
one
of
of those who knows questions.
yeah, it's just the power of deduction, right? Like, does anybody benefit from us having short attention spans? I think. I'm
I
sure.
mean, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's like, again, like we were saying before, I mean, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of concentrated effort to focus on stuff. And I guess, when you're just, got that quick attention span, like, how can you focus? I think it makes it harder to focus on projects, on tasks, and on actually achieving things. So
Mm.
those two things may be related. Again, just like, it's consumer culture. It's just a very convenient society. It's just so easy to just not do anything.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
Right.
just path of
Right.
least resistance, and it's just getting more and more least.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like it's important to throw in personal obstacles. I don't know
Oh
if that's the
yeah,
way to
yeah.
phrase it.
Challenges, obstacles. I mean,
Challenges.
the metaphor that I use for it is just like exercising, weightlifting. I mean, you put yourself through that hard stuff in order to get to the other side, which is, looking better, feeling better, that kind of stuff. You use it to become stronger. So that's the metaphor. But I think it's also important, like personal challenges. Like, when I booked improv teaching gigs, it's like, man, that used to just feel, because it was a challenge for me to even
Mhm.
make those calls, so actually getting
Right.
them, it's like feeling of accomplishment, like, yeah, man, cool, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's important. I think it's important to push yourself and to
Did you
do
put like a
stuff.
number in your head for it? Like, tomorrow by 3 o'clock, I have to hit three applications, or is that how you do it?
I mean, yeah, generally I think I just kind of make a decision in my head, like, man, I'm just gonna make calls. Like, I don't think have a firm number. I just,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and it's
Okay.
funny because I know the difference. Like, because I know I never want to call, but I know the difference between a day that I'm not going to call versus when I get that determination of like, I'm calling tomorrow. I know it. Like, those calls are
Yeah.
happening. So it's just
Right.
like a light switch.
Yeah. How's that going, by the way? Anything opening up again for you?
I mean, there's places opening up, but it's like, I don't know. It's slow motion now. I think it's like they're testing the waters.
Yeah. 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 I don't know what the stuff at the Y is like in Missouri, but I think they're opening up. Yeah, man. Good luck with that, man. On with all this, it's kind of easy to forget that there's a pandemic going on and
No, yeah, no,
thrown a wrench into everything. And
yeah, no.
yeah,
I
man,
mean,
really
I go ahead.
no, no. I was just saying that this whole pandemic has been really revealing. It's how we live our lives. We haven't had a chance to reflect on our lives like this. I don't think in a long, long time, especially in America. Uh, so, but you meditate all the time,
Yeah,
so you're probably reflecting every day.
yeah. No, I mean, I definitely do. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Um, I really don't have a whole lot of thoughts on the corona, man. It's just, it changed a lot. I mean, it definitely changed a lot of my personal plans, but still, the bigger point of what we were talking about was just about, just achieving goals, man, and putting yourself through challenges. It's
Mm.
like, I mean, that's something I do think is important because it's easy to live very comfortably again. And I think it's too comfortable, man. Like, I don't think it's good for us. I think we deprive ourselves in a lot of different ways. And, I don't know, man. It's the inertia. I don't got the words, homie.
No, I think I got you, man. I think I do. It's like it's kind of what gives the right kind of fuel to our lives is by doing that as opposed to just accepting the easy, the easy, the easy. It's weird. Like easy is great, but what is the thing that makes us feel so much more clear-headed once we've accomplished something that we it took some effort to do? I think effort and clarity they're tied. They're tied. Uh, so it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. That's why I just get so frustrated with the apathy. It's like
Or whose apathy are you frustrated with?
mine, mine
Mine,
alone.
your own. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
It's very frustrating. It's
So
extremely frustrating.
basically, you're saying you don't. Oh boy, I feel like a real talk show host now. So basically, what you're saying is you don't care enough to take action. Is that what you're saying?
Dr. Phil, lay off me, man. You gotta get a hold of cash me outside, man. You cash me outside. Um, I mean, it's not that I don't know I need to take action or responsibility or anything like that. I guess I'm just wondering, is this does this all lead anywhere? Kind of, I suppose. If I do take action, if I do take effort,
Mm,
the chances of it being all for
mm.
nothing,
Cup, 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 cup.
the track
I
record would
understand.
just like, you know what I mean? It's like so,
I got you.
and that's emotion. That's emotion that we're trying to tie into. It's one of my favorite terms, the better angels of our beings from the beginning of time, to make sense of whether or not we should continue to fight that good cause of good versus evil. That's some serious stuff to occupy the mind with, that will keep you going 24/7. And I feel like I have my finger on the switch of that. And I can really flip it on because it makes all the sense to me. It somewhere does make all the sense, but it also makes all the sense not to.
Man, you know what that makes me think of is I've seen this analogy before. It's like people say like, why put the effort in? Because it's like trying to go to the NBA. It's like, yeah, you could practice, you can do all this stuff, you can, put all your hardest efforts in. And when all is said and done, you still might not make it. So it's like, so why do it at all? And it's like, man, like, that's what they call very, to me, outcome dependent is what they call that. Like you're really worried about the outcome. Again, it's like, and it happens with dating a lot. That's where I see it a lot with dating. It's like dudes don't want to approach the girl, because they're afraid. Like, well, what if she says no, though. And
I don't know what
man,
you're talking about. I don't
the
know what you're talking about.
I don't know, man. I mean, with regard to trying to get in the NBA. I mean, that's not my dream, but if that was my dream, it's like, you either can take the shot and miss it or you can choose to not. And that's where the power is. I think people don't want to give up their power because when you have the ball, you've got the power. I can choose to shoot this or I can hold on to it. But, as soon as you let go, it's out of your hands, whether you're going to make it, whether it's going to go out into the crowd, all this kind of stuff. It's happening now. So it's like people would rather, I think, sometimes just keep it within their power rather than lose control and have that failure. It's like I would rather avoid it than have the failure.
Yeah.
But again, in going for it, it's like in taking the shot, if that's what you want, I mean, that's the only way to get it. So it's like,
That's
to me, it's
better.
more so like, do you want to make the points more or do you want to avoid missing the shot more? That's the battle.
That's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, man.
That's
I
pretty
think
damn
about
good.
this shit.
Yeah. You don't say. Yeah. Is there anything you decided that wasn't worth it? Is there anything you decided in your life that's like, nah, I'm gonna not shoot for the basket here, hold
I
the ball?
mean, it's everything, man. It's
Multiple
everything.
question.
I mean, it's everything every day. Like it doesn't even have to be big stuff. It's like sometimes it's like even if you want to like, ah man, I want to go to the store see if they have any, whatever. I mean, it's all just it's every decision you make every day. You know. I mean, it's like, do you want to shoot the basketball, go for it, or do you want to avoid missing? Do you want to avoid making a mistake? Do you want what you want, or do you want to avoid what you don't want? I mean, that's just kind of the zoomed out big picture of it. What's more important to you, what you want or what you don't want? So yeah, I face that conflict every day, man. Like every day.
Yeah. And you can't point like fingers at anybody else, right? It's like it's all on you to make that call. Do you
Right.
ever
If
do that though? I do that, man. Sometimes I'll point the finger. I'll point the finger. Like, I can't do that. That person said I can't do that, or this and that. I do that. I do.
I try not to, man. I try not to point the finger just because it's like I prefer to have accountability. I would prefer to have accountability and call myself a coward rather than to just say, ah, it's out of my control, you know.
Yeah. Dang, man. You should start a side business too, like a counseling, life coaching business. Have you ever thought of that? Like life coaching?
Man, I have, but it's like, man, I think you need to have your life in order before you start doing stuff like that. Like,
That's bullshit, man.
man, get yourself up the mountain
No
first.
life coach. That's a pretty high requirement. What a shitty job interview that would be. No, you're pretty good. It makes a lot of sense what you said.
Yeah, man. It's just because I read it a lot. Like, you know, I mentioned before the Forever Alone forum on Reddit. And it's like, I read those posts a lot because it's like, man, growing up, I could really relate to those people. And it's just, I read it a lot and it's just a common thing. Like, I've got this crush, and just for months, they've got this crush, and it's like, I want to ask her out, and it's like the biggest thing in the world, but it's like, it's basically like holding the ball, holding the ball, holding the ball.
Yeah.
And, some of them have even explicitly said that, and just by hearing them talk, it's like it's taught me about me because they'll say stuff like, sometimes I want to avoid failure more than I want to get a girl, like they'll say stuff like that. And I'll think about it and I'm like, yeah, man, it's embarrassment, it's effort that you
Yeah.
put in, it's this, it's that. It's
Right.
hard.
Right. It feels like that kind of thing. I mean, it's like, yeah, nobody should minimize that anxiety that young man has, uh, because it feels like whenever you put yourself out there like that, you're ranked in society. You know what I mean? You're being judged. It doesn't feel like just one person judging you. It feels like everybody's judging you. That's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, man. It is hard. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like we just got to get used to letting go. And that's another thing from improv as well. It's just like letting go of control, like whatever this person says to you, just being able to handle it. It's just we've got our heart too set on just a very perfect thing happening. And, that's like expecting a scene to just go perfectly like this way is way. And it's like really needing the scene to go that way. And it's like you're tense, you're anxious. And if it doesn't go that way, maybe you're angry, you're sad, and it's just I mean, it's like that whole saying of like, you got to learn what you control in life, what you don't control, and you got to learn to tell the difference. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you can't worry about the things you can't control. I mean, if this girl doesn't like you, it's like I can't control it. She doesn't like me, but what I can control is my ability to go find another girl. Maybe she will
Right.
like me. You know?
Right.
I mean, if I go to McDonald's, they're out of Big Macs. It's like, well, I can order a McChicken. I can go to Dairy Queen. I can go home and cook something. I mean, that's what I can control. I've got options, but I can't control that option because they just out.
Hmm. Are you still doing that dating show?
I was only on once, man. See, once
No.
once I was on it, once the coronavirus thing started, they changed the name of it to Quarantine Valentine.
Ah. Okay.
Quarantine Valentine.
So they get rid of your episode?
Well, they were going to do that anyway after like seven
Ah,
weeks, but I've got it. I still got it downloaded.
yeah, yeah. Are you going to try to apply for the new one?
Not really, man. I I don't know. It was what it was. I mean, it was an interesting experience, but I
Yeah.
was wondering, like, maybe one day they'll call me back. Maybe one day.
Honestly, I was thinking about it yesterday about me trying it out because you suggested it to me. I was like, I don't know. But now that I've done this thing with you a couple of times, I'm like, oh, okay, this is
Yeah,
just
it's pretty cool.
it's not that bad.
And then you get to meet a nice lady too. Hey, it's
Right,
pretty
right.
nice.
I still don't understand how that other guy won because your date with her was really nice,
No.
really nice. I don't know what it is about people. They want to like always be voyeuristic, but it was like, remember that show Blind Date back in the day, Blind Date.
Yeah, man, I used to
Yeah,
love
that's
that
what it felt
shit.
like. Me too. All the pop ups and everything. It was great. And you go like the best episodes were, of course, when they would sleep together. That was
Mm,
always exciting.
yeah, it was a lot of I don't know, what do you call it, vicarious living, man? Because I used to like
Yeah,
the, when they're out with the hot chicks, just like, yeah, get it right, do the right things.
it's true. It's true. I wonder, as time has gone on now, I wonder if I identify more with like those other guys on the shows. I'm talking about, the guys who are just like they have no chance. They're just they got like Homer Simpson lines. It's
Oh
just
man.
I'm not gonna. It's just so mean to do that to guys like that. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah. Vicarious living. I think that's a big part of what we do in our country, and that's why we still have our royalty without really having them. So.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like freaking platforms like Twitch, man. I mean, speak of the devil, like this is all about voyeurism, especially
True,
the
true.
IRL channels, man. Just like people walking around, living their lives with their selfie stick, their cell phone on a selfie stick,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
day to day living. And some people they do that every day of their lives, just streaming.
Right, right. Huh. I wonder how much the Truman Show guys, like they really could. I wonder how much they thought this was actually going to happen, but it's like full on happened.
Man, I was thinking the other day, like, man, TV's really always been voyeuristic, just like watching these people, watching their lives play out. They don't know you're there. You're just seeing their struggles, their relationships, and they're just living their lives, and you're just out there, and they don't know, just watching
They
them.
have no clue.
No clue.
But it always feels so personal, though. Every time they look at the camera or something, it's just like, oh man, they're looking at me. I know it. I belong in that family. Man, I remember I wanted to be part of the Winslow family so bad growing up. Family Matters. That
Yeah.
was just like that. Just looked like the place to be, man. The neighbors, Steve Urkel. Oh man, that looked like a fun, loving family. But I don't know if they have. I guess they do on ABC. They still have ABC Family TV shows, right?
ABC Family, I don't know, man. I don't really watch TV a whole lot these
Yeah, I
days.
haven't really kept in touch with all that stuff, but yeah, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. It would be nice to see something new that's more reflective of where we are today. I feel like we've been kind of seeing the same old families kind of cycle through now for the past, like, I don't know, 20 years. They're all
Yeah.
some variation on the Simpsons family.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like what we're seeing nowadays is more people trying to, do a deconstruction of that. I mean, like,
Mm,
It's Always Sunny, like, to me, is a pretty good example of, like, just taking the normal and just flipping it on its head. It's like from always likable, charming people to just these awful people. Um,
right.
and
No,
Adult
that's
Swim.
that's yeah. No, you're right. There's you can say like postmodern comedy is nothing but like deconstruction, right? It's all that absurdism, millennial humor, whatever you want to call it or label it, but it's definitely a thing. But I just wonder if there's going to be something that you know. Did you watch Family Matters a lot?
Yeah, that was with Urkel, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Actually, I used to enjoy that show a lot.
I love that show. I really and Stefan and everything about that chamber we all wanted to walk into. uh, what was her name? The crush that he had, Laura.
Yeah.
Man, she was. I was so mad at her every episode. I was like, this guy is your guy, and you
Nah.
don't realize it. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is it gets cycled online once in a while now. That awesome episode where Carl's son Eddie gets patrolled by the cops, or he gets pulled over
Oh,
by the cops, and they're acting really kind of nasty towards him. You know what I'm talking about? That scene.
I'm not that familiar with that episode in particular.
It's a really good episode, man. It's really, really good. It's spoiler alert. Eddie gets really emotional because his dad's kind of like, "What were you doing in that part of town at that time? You shouldn't have been there." And he's saying like, "Dad, I'm innocent. Like that's wrong of you to tell me I can't be there. You know, or I shouldn't be there. I should be able to." And I guess it gets to his dad a little bit. Like it. He realizes he needs to do something. So Carl Winslow, the police officer, Carl Winslow goes to the police station, finds the cops that harassed his son, and kind of confronts them. He was like, I know you pulled my kid over because of bullshit. He just happened to fit the description. You think you thought it was him, and you were cruel to him, and all these kinds of things. I don't know, man. Well, my point is, where is TV like that? Like that was I'll remember that forever because it was such a funny show that could be so silly, so silly. I mean, you watched it. Urkel was the silliest motherfucker there was out there. But then to lay that on top of stuff, it's like, okay, you want to reflect something here. You want to say something that hasn't been talked about yet. I respect that, man. I respect that. It's
Well,
not too preachy. It just feels necessary, you know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, so maybe, sometimes it's just a question of, I guess, where are you looking for that kind of stuff from? I mean, I mean, because I think there's a lot of different, there's so much entertainment out there. There's a lot of stuff.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose there is. I just feel like there's not as like that one show that does it like Family Matters used to. Everybody's watching their own thing, but like on a network television show, I guess there's that show. I haven't watched too much of it. That was on ABC Family, Blackish.
Mm,
Uh, Anthony.
yeah, that to me seems like a comedy, though. Doesn't seem like it's heavy.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always Family Matters. Family Matters is like that's a comedy.
Right.
But they think they do
Okay.
get into like what I mean is I think they get like it's a show that appeals to people on broad terms, but then once in a while they'll sneak this kind of like social commentary into it. And I don't think they do it like the SJW way either. I
Uh,
think it's I think
More
it's like they
authentic.
want to focus. Yeah, yeah. I think it's focused on the comedy and well, it's like good comedy. You shouldn't force it. You should be able to rely on the absurd truths of the world to keep it going. And if you don't bring in those absurd truths, your joke will fall apart. Your premise will fall apart. It just it won't land.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's so much media out there, man. It's hard to say. For me, I mean, I'm sure, man. There's so many artists, man. So many people getting their voices heard through so many different mediums nowadays. I mean, it's everywhere. It's scattered, and it really is true.
Mm.
Like you don't really sit in front of the TV. It's like it's this little known show maybe that's unheard of that maybe is on Amazon Prime or something. Like
Mm.
apparently there's this show Black Dynamite with black superheroes, which I'm sure that's probably got some social commentary on it.
I want to watch that, man. That sounds good.
Yeah. Black Lightning, actually. Did I say what I said? I think it's called Black Lightning.
Like lightning. What's that
Yeah.
on?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, nice, nice.
See, but it's like you gotta find it. It's like you gotta know a dealer. It's like you gotta know a dealer to get the particular media drug you're looking for, because it's
And
just
so that's
so
why
scattered.
I go paranoid that way. I'm like, why isn't it not on ABC? Why is it not? What the hell? Why do I have to go looking for it? But no, it's
Nah.
true. It's true. We're lucky to get this content out in any way, so it's nice that it is out there. I just gotta go looking more. I don't watch much TV anymore either. Man. I usually watch, I don't know, what do I watch? Man? I barely watch. Have you seen? Maybe I text you about this. Have you seen Neil Brennan's Three Mics?
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
You did see it, huh? What'd
Yeah,
you think about it?
I thought it was pretty good.
Me too. Me too. I was never like a huge Neil Brennan fan, to be honest, but like after that, I was like, damn, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I just like the idea of. I mean, he doesn't run from it. It almost felt like a one-man show. He was was just really going into his biography. And, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, deepness, intimacy. I mean, and he talked about how because Chappelle like went to Africa, he had to kind of stand on his own and come out of the shadows and stuff. And I don't know, to me, that seems like that's the nature of things as well nowadays. It's like you can't, I don't think you can hide behind your art as much. I really do think that who you are has to be a brand as much as what you're doing. And so it's like this whole personality thing again. It's like social
Mm,
media. You
right.
got to have the social media branding and platform, and you've got to
Mm.
speak and be out there amongst. Cause I trailed off. It made
No, no,
sense at one point.
I just, did you ever watch Jamie Foxx's talk show that he did in his trailer?
No.
It's pretty good. He'd have like celebrities on there, but I don't know if he's still doing it or not. But he did one with Denzel Washington, and it was really good actually. And it kind of shows you a little bit of the changes in artists. Like for example, uh, Jamie Foxx was kind of telling Denzel, or they were just discussing. He was just saying like, I feel like it's extremely important to be seen all the time. Your presence is just so important. You want to not Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, YouTube. You just need to be seen. Whereas Denzel was just kind of like, nah, I'm not having it. you know, he was like, I'm focused on quality over quantity, and I think about that all the time. I'm just like, yeah, man, I love when you didn't know too much about your performers, your actors, and you could just kind of picture them as just this totally brand new character that would just take you away. The mystery of an actor, it used to be, or performer, really, not even just actors, used to be so integral.
Man, you used to know, and you can know everything about the performer now, but not only that, you can know everything about the audience member. I mean, it's like
What
both
do you mean?
sides. It's like you can see the person like on Twitter. If you're a celebrity and somebody sends you an insult, like you can go to their Twitter account, you can see their family, their dog, you can see that they're a
Oh,
freaking Yankees fan. Like everybody's life is just laid out. So it's like the
yeah.
performer, the audience member, the security guard that kicked you out, you can look him up on Facebook, see what he's into, you know.
The security guard that kicked you out.
Send him a friend request.
Yeah, man.
It's ridiculous, man.
No, you're right though. You're right. I never really thought of it that way, but it's like they. I think the audience is used to being very faceless, uh,
Hmm.
in the dark.
Yeah,
Now they're right there. That's true. That's like even right now, there are probably people you could, if there was somebody watching, you could just click right on them and make them not somebody an
yeah.
audience member anymore, but like a contributor.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a big thing with these kinds of streams too. Yes, people call in. I mean, it's basically like it's a video radio show. I don't know a
Yeah,
better way to
yeah,
put that. You can get call-ins.
right. And you can save all of this, right? You don't just have to do the highlighted thing like you did last
Oh
time. You
yeah,
can
man. I'm
save
going
all.
to download it. I'm going to download a copy to my computer. But
Yeah,
it'll be
man.
sitting on Twitch for like what, 14 days or something.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, dude, man, this has been good, man. I really appreciate this and the advice. I'm on. You should just fuck the license. Just be a life coach, man. I'll cash app you, man. It's honestly, it's good shit. It's good shit. This idea of the struggle being kind of necessary, in fact, to challenge yourself, and it's not something that takes care of itself either. It's
Yeah. Again, who's Luke Skywalker without the Empire? He's just gonna be farming. He,
I love that. Yeah, no, it's in many ways, I guess opposition can be kind of a blessing. You find your identity a little bit quickly. I am a Jedi.
yeah, you're forced into it, man, because you got to push
Right.
against that stuff.
Well, people want to shape your story all the time for you, and they want your story to be so much like theirs that they get freaked out if it's not. And that's a big part of what I mean. Not to bring it back to the protest stuff, but that's part of why I think the protests are important. I think people need to be seen and know that there are different ways to be. Um, that should be actually extremely celebrated. You know, I think
Yeah.
if people, if everyone was the same, man, that's a true fucking nightmare. um, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Man, it's just hard. It's hard to imagine how people could think differently, especially when you put yourself in your bubble. Because it's like I got a couple of Twitter accounts. It's like one of them has more left leaning people in it, the other one has more right leaning, and it's like whichever one you're looking at. I mean, they're looking at stories constantly that is reinforcing their narrative. You know,
Right.
so it's
Right.
like the left is just like this is the left narrative. Look at this. See this thing. This is why we're right. And then you look at the right narrative, and it's like they're talking about different stuff, but it's stuff that is supporting their narrative, or it's the same stuff but from an angle that supports their narrative. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like when you're in that bubble like that, it's like how could anybody think differently than me? Look at how right I am. Look at all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but you're looking at your evidence to prove your point. They're looking at evidence to prove their point.
Mm-hmm.
How can anybody think differently? Right. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to comprehend.
That's what I mean, man. Like, obviously, like you were saying, why would I, go down 15 minutes south of here and go to a community that doesn't really want me? It's like just to point out that, I could be wrong. I could be wrong just as much as they could be wrong. That's fascinating, man. Like, we're always talking about wanting to go to Mars and get in contact with extraterrestrial life. It's all here. We're all extremely alien to each other. And we all think we have our own ways of being that are just the ways, the human way. And it's like, nah, man, they have a different human way 15 minutes from here. And I want to see that. I want to be able to see that peacefully, you know. That'd be nice. That'd be good. Yeah, different ways are amazing, right? Like, the more variety, the more you can select from to improve yourself or to do whatever it is you want to do with yourself. It's like there's nothing wrong with variety of lifestyle, of thought, of behavior. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Talking to people that think differently than me. I was just thinking about that as a concept. Like, would I want to talk to somebody that thinks differently than me? And I'm kind of thinking like, I mean, I just live and let live. I don't know. I mean, everybody's got a story. I mean, I know they've got reasons that they believe and stuff. It's just I don't know. To me, it seems like it would be frustrating though, because it'd be hard to. Some of the stuff they say, I'm sure, would just be stuff where it's just like, why? But no, but that's not. But
Mm,
and it's kind of like when you start to, if you start to question that, it's like now you're in a debate, now you're in an argument or whatever. Um,
you know, yeah,
I don't know,
I get what
man.
you. I feel like framing is so important. I feel like everything is about framing. If you're going to go into a conversation with somebody about something that could be heated, like race relations or something, we should know that that stuff can get heated, right? Especially if we know already that we're going to go into it with somebody who thinks differently than us. And yeah, we can say being cool and collected is important, but I mean, it's how we need to frame it, in fact, in order to have anything mean anything, have our differences mean anything. Because, yeah, if we had our differences and we didn't frame it, we would just go back and forth all day, just disagreeing, arguing, feeling insulted, feeling hurt, and thinking that that was the intention of it all. But if we could frame it in the sense of my intention here is to really just understand you. So you let loose, man. You let loose. That's what I'm saying. Like, Mr. Nazi man, let loose. Tell me what you really think. And because it's going to be framed in this thing where I know right now you're not wanting to exactly destroy me, but you're trying to explain how you maybe want to destroy me.
Hmm.
That I can handle. that
Yeah.
I can handle. I really
I don't
can.
know.
It's actually important, you know.
It's interesting. I mean, I was trying to compare it to my own mindset, and I was just thinking, like, so talking to SJW person, why do you think what you think? Why do you go about doing what you do? And it's like, I mean, they explain it to you. Okay, now I know. And it's like, at that point, it's like, okay, well, I know. I don't.
Sure, sure.
I don't know, but that's just me personally. It's like I don't know. I mean, and I can understand. Oh man, you're kind of dropping out here. Um, but I can understand wanting to acquire knowledge because I've definitely like kind of looked online sometimes about like kind of different groups, just like okay, what are they about? What's this? And then it's like okay,
Yeah, I feel like the idea of acquiring knowledge feels like a chore to people. You know, it's almost like you asking me to acquire knowledge is like you telling me how to live my life. And I feel like that's a stretch. You know,
yeah,
acquiring
man.
knowledge is just it's a natural thing. It's a very natural thing, but I guess that's where the warrior aspect of it gets self defeating, right? It's like when you make somebody try to be a more moral person, it's kind of like fuck you. You know, that's supposed to be within me and my personal choice,
Yeah,
but I just wish we could, I guess, more than force this appetite for knowledge, just create an environment where it's you know it's an attribute of America. We have so many differences, man. This could be we go to freaking Epcot and Disney World to get a taste of different cultures in just a short amount. This is America. It's a large Epcot. It's a really
acquire
large.
knowledge.
Mm,
Yeah, man. The thing about that is just that's just one of those things that it takes work, it takes effort. I mean, and it takes a desire above all. You got to want to because it's so easy. Again, going back to the comfort and convenience thing, it's like if it's like me gaining knowledge about about how to start a cattle farm. It's like I don't need to gain that knowledge, so I don't, you know.
this makes me think about the idea of like businesses. You know, this idea of stockholders and shareholders. You know, very often people overlook the idea of a shareholder, and I think we're all kind of shareholders of each other. And this means that the knowledge about each other is always going to be useful. You know, um, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think people think knowledge about other people or whatever it is that doesn't immediately serve their interest is not important. But the truth of it is, what I'm trying to say is, it does serve your interests. You know, to know what's going on
Well, that's
in
why
your
they have
world.
stereotypes. It's just shorthand. It's like, oh, I know. It's just this shorthand stereotype.
Mm, mm.
They don't dig deeper. It's like that maybe they get some kind of image from the news. Maybe their parents tell them,
But do you
like,
think that?
this.
Yeah. Do you think that stereotype then is their way of saying I know enough? Really,
Yeah,
or is it their
yeah.
way of just being angry?
Well, I think that they feel like they know enough, and I think that they don't care enough to educate themselves any further
That
on it.
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah. They don't think they're stereotyping when they're stereotyping. Typically, I don't think.
Right. They think it's right.
They're
I
going
mean, they think
right,
it's accurate.
right, right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, man. Right and wrong. I know it can be all relative, but it doesn't seem like we should have that much of a right to pick and choose like that. For our knowledge, just because we might believe something doesn't mean it's right. And, it seems very healthy to challenge those things regularly, you know, for our own individual sake and then also collectively.
I know. Wouldn't it be nice, man, if we could get that kind of stuff in school? Just like giving us important knowledge and understanding.
I know
It's
it's
like
like where there should be a place for this. There should be a place for the kids.
just send them early, get them. uh,
It would be perfect. It's almost like it'd be too perfect. And that's another thing. Yeah, it's true. Like, think about the education system, man. Like, there's just a handful of people that get to determine what the entire country learns. It's really fucking bizarre. I talk about brainwashing, talking
the,
about all that stuff, and you shouldn't think that you can maybe now expect it from your media or whatever, but from your schools,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's always been school's purpose, though, to give you a
mm,
certain curriculum. I mean, it's never been like free and open. Like again, the teacher tells you, it's top down. Like this is what it is. This is what you learn.
yeah,
This is the classes you take. You know.
right, right, yeah, yeah. I wonder what the school's going to be like for kids. I don't know if they're going back to school anytime soon. I don't know if it makes any difference really. You got like little nephews and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, got little
Yeah.
ones, little
Are they
nephews.
all home? How's the not going to school thing going?
Uh, for me or for them?
Both.
Them not going to the school. I mean, I don't know. I don't really ask those questions, but I don't know, man. I was thinking that stuff like this. I think is the future, man. Like of schooling, like just because this is the central focus, and it's like they got this app called Discord where people do like voice chat,
Right, right. I
and
heard
I'm
about
I'm
this.
thinking like some combination of those things would be like all the classroom. Maybe they're all like on this kind of group phone call essentially, but they're watching the teacher also maybe on the screen. I don't know. This is me getting off topic, but that's what I'm thinking. But long story short, I don't know how the nephews are hanging without school. I mean, I'd imagine they're enjoying it,
Yeah.
having a
I
good
don't know,
time.
man. Didn't you ever like miss your friends though for school? Just like play around, hang out with them.
I wasn't a popular kid. I don't know. I played video games. I
Yeah.
had a lot of time to play video games over the summer.
I think I've always been the same in the sense like I always liked being around people, but I was always okay with being by myself. I was very cool with just digging in the dirt and watching everybody else run around. That was plenty fine with me.
I was a philosopher even in kindergarten, man. I didn't understand
Yeah.
it. I was like, what is this? What is the school thing? Okay, it's recess now. I get to go outside. Now, what am I doing outside? What is this place? I don't want to be here.
What are these arbitrary breaks? Who
What are these
decides?
breaks? I got to color now. Okay, I'm coloring. I'm done coloring. I don't want to color no more. I got to keep coloring. You're telling me I got to
Why
keep?
only 10 crayons to choose from? Racism, racism.
Boy, it really it didn't sit right with me from a very early age, and I just never recovered from that.
Yeah, I mean, no question, there's wasted time there, and it's like it's almost like the joke now with kids being home that this is harder on the parents. Like the parents just want to get the kids fucking out to school. They just don't care about what they're learning. They just want to get them out to school. They
Yeah.
do not want, and that tells you something right there, man. I don't know, and that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just like it shows the education system is more or less babysitting. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man, life lessons would be nice to learn, but like I honestly, I think school makes people hate learning, or maybe they just think that's the extent of what learning is. It's just you go to school, all right, I learned. I'm a learned person, like they don't think to apply themselves to that more because again, going back to the whole thing, I got to work. I got to try to find a girl to hook up with. I got to have friends, social life, entertainment, sleep. When do I have time to dig for knowledge? Or when do I have time to even desire? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, one thing I wish for sure. I mean, if we're gonna have school, I wish we could just kind of focus in on the teachers. I think one of the main roles is to find out what's in the student that makes them tick, that makes them want to keep, that energizes them, and then just sort of guide them to that as much as
Oh
we
my
can.
God, wouldn't that be nice?
I know that's what I'm saying. It's like we don't have like so. and just do that earlier and earlier, and then you get the kid more and more prepared. And
Man.
because I really do believe if like kid wants to be a mechanic, I think he has a better chance of being a well-rounded human being if you guide him towards being a mechanic earlier. You know what I'm saying?
I do,
He wants
man.
to be
That
too confused, and it's just we don't think that way at all. I don't think, and it's just to spend more time in places where you have to spend more money, and yeah, so it's a racket.
yeah, man. But I don't know, man. Going back to quick fixes, I mean, and that's like stuff like, and that's how you get into stuff like, man, I'm just not satisfied. I'm not happy. How about drinking? How about this thing, that thing? It gets into the destructive vices again,
Right.
going into being destructive versus being constructive, and that's just on an individual level, you know. But you could kind of expand that out to like that's what we're doing on a bigger level, again, instead of going for the harder thing that takes more time and effort, we're going for the metaphorical booze as a country.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. And I think I wonder though, like, is it how much judgment can I put on this country for going for the booze?
No.
You know, I really wonder. Is it maybe it's time for it to? Maybe is it time for entropy to take over? You know, is it time for this whole system to kind of naturally fall apart based on what it's founded on? You know, the country is based on the easy way out. You know, we just took this land. You know, it's going to be in our DNA. It's going to be in our DNA, and it is. We're all very entitled. We're all very privileged, and that just seems, from what you're saying, it sounds like there's kind of only one inevitable outcome of that, which is self-destruction.
I don't know.
And
It's one outcome. It's one of two.
yeah,
It's
what's
the
the other
easier.
one?
Well, the thing is, just the easier one. The destruction is the easier one. To grab the
Yeah,
booze. I mean, the harder thing is to actually attack your unhappiness at the root and to take proactive action towards changing it. And
mm,
like I said, I mean, that's the harder thing to do. It takes more time. There's no instant gratification there. You got to go through some pain, probably. So,
mm. Yeah, and like what you said earlier too. It's like it's always worth it, no matter what, even if it might feel like odds are not in our favor to try
yeah.
something that we're care about. Like it's still worth it. And that's encouraging for real. It's kind of like it's comforting to know that there's a logic behind still giving things a try. You know, sometimes I just don't like to ride on blind faith. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice, man. I used to think that, like, I have these crazy dreams where it's like, I try things out. If it doesn't work, I hit reset. I mean, it'd be nice, just stuff like that, to know whether something's going to work, but it is that uncertainty. Fundamentally,
Mm,
it's confronting uncertainty. And it's
right.
just again just being willing to find out and just knowing that it's not in your control. I mean, it's like I want to take this shot. I mean, I'm just so curious. I have to know what would happen if I took this shot. I need to turn over this stone so bad because otherwise the curiosity would just ruin me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a good point. But I mean, there is that expression. You know, curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
And the NBA thing again, it's like how far I came. Maybe sometimes you can surprise yourself with how far you've come. So again, it's not about what you didn't get, but it's like, man, I got a lot closer to
true.
getting there than I should have. Like
Absolutely,
sometimes.
absolutely. You're right about that. Yeah, man. Sometimes I'll still do it. You know, if something really cool kind of happened, or like, um, when we got to do the open mic over at the W, that was one of my favorite things that we had ever done. I was just like, afterwards, I was just thinking to myself, now go time travel in your head and go tell that 7-year old, 6-year-old kid, that you're doing this thing, man. And I still do it. I still have to do it. You're right. It's because we come farther than we give ourselves credit for sometimes. Good to know that
Yeah, man. It's
sometimes, right?
just it's easy. Not, it's helpful not to have tunnel vision because it's easy to get caught up in that one thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
It's just like improv. There's always options, always alternatives, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's just one of my favorite things about improv is just you go ahead and simplify it. Call it out. It's okay to make things clear, right? Um, Whereas in life, it sometimes feels like, do I have the right to even try to be something? It's like, no, just make a stand, make a claim, say I am, boom, and then just go with it. It's true. It's true. How much it simplifies things. It's okay to simplify. Man, this has been a good conversation, man.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I don't know. I think I promoted this thing as a full-on comedy show on Facebook, so my apologies, everyone. I hope you're laughing. If you are, you're a sick human being. But
Yeah.
no, it's definitely insightful, man. Like, it's kind of like this feels kind of like a version of what I was trying to do that one time at the mosque. There's so many things that I just feel like our thoughts are limited to the skull, and when stuff is affecting all of us, you just wonder if it's in anybody else's skull too. You really legitimately wonder how it is in somebody else's skull, and it's nice. I get clarity from it. You get a lot of clarity from it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's been cool. So it's almost 10. You want to do an improv thing or
You want to do like a 10-minute set? I'm a little tired.
yeah, nah, no diggity, no doubt. I got you.
Can you pull up a suggestion?
Uh, yeah, let's say that's what I was doing.
I want to know now what you're really.
All right, give me a suggestion, baby. I don't like this website, but this is what I got. Journal, oh, son of a gun. Very timely.
Is it journalism?
Journalism is the suggestion. Ridiculous. All right, well, man, I finished writing stories up for the day, man. I'm about to go home. I'm done writing. Editor, I'm done. I wrote all my stories for the day.
Yeah, you got something good for us, right? Something juicy?
Well, what's that?
You got something good for us, right? Something nice and juicy, right? Something that's going to really sell.
Wait, but no, I'm done. I'm done writing stories for the day. Don't be getting more Don't know, not more.
And then
I'm
those
ready.
stories, they're sexual in nature, right? Something titillating and maybe a scandal in the White House.
What? No, I'm highly religious and patriotic. I would never write about either of those things. I need to get out of. Where are my keys? Where the hell are my car
Bob,
keys?
Listen, Bob.
I need to get.
I have a final, margin to make here, okay? And your pieces on how we need to be grooming our pets every Sunday after church are just not selling. Nobody's buying it, okay?
I'm allergic. I'm allergic to all pets. I can't get my drawer open. My drawer's open.
We're not interested in allergies here, Bob. We want sex and death.
Oh, what? Did he say sex again? Oh, shit. I can't. No, I can't.
Sex and death.
No, death?
Repeat it
death?
as much as you can for me, Bob. That's how we sell these bad boys. Repeat it with me. Sex and death.
Oh, that makes me. Oh, it makes me sick in my stomach. I can't. Yeah. I can't write.
Yeah. The only cure for it is more news, Bob. The only cure for it is more news, Bob.
He keeps
sex and death.
He keeps saying this stuff. It's almost like he knows I'm Super Puritan man in disguise. It's like he's trying to sap my energy away from me. Yeah.
Yes, Bob.
Yeah.
What's the last website you visited, Bob, in your incognito mode? Tell me.
No. I'm losing. Yeah, my Puritanism.
Bad boy, Bob. You're a bad,
Oh,
bad boy.
my
Mm-hmm.
Puritanism. No, curse you, Lex Luthor of the Puritan world. All right, all right.
Dad, my pen's not working.
Your pen ain't working either. My pen ain't been working for the last hour, man. I just been scratching the paper.
Dad, how are we supposed to do our homework? How are you supposed to do your work without our pens?
Man, I've been asking myself that for the past hour because this scratching is barely working, son. It is barely working.
This kind of seems pointless, man. I don't see the point in any of this.
Well, son, if you scratch the paper hard enough, you're going to leave a trail, and any reasonable person looking at the trail is going to know you tried to make a word.
It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. You know how many trails people leave behind just by scratching some paper? They're not going to know.
But damn, all right, son. Look, you've got me in the logical quandary here. All right, I don't know what's going to happen. All right, maybe you'll get kicked out of school. All right, and maybe I'll get fired.
So
Maybe,
I should get this. I should keep working for the chances of getting kicked out of school. Is what you're saying to me, Dad?
son. I'm
And I
just
should just
saying,
continue to waste my time and energy into something that will ultimately flush me down the toilet of society. Is that what you're saying to me, Dad?
son. All I'm saying is scratch the damn paper and hope for the best. That's what I've been doing for the past hour. All right, I've been
Let me
scratching
see
paper
your
for. You want to see my
Let me
work?
see your doc.
You want
Yeah,
to
I
see
want
all
to see
my
what you've been.
work documents
Yeah,
that are scratched up?
Dad. I can't see anything. You did not
You
write anything. This is just a bunch of scratches on the paper, Dad.
look hard, man. Squint, fucking, like adjust
This
it
is
in the light. Like if you look
this
real
is what you tell
hard.
your boss. This is what you tell your boss. You tell him to squint. You're gonna
That's what
get
I was.
fired, Dad.
That's what I was planning on telling them tomorrow. Yes,
You're, you're gonna get fired. We're gonna lose our home.
'cause you
We
don't
are
know
going to
that.
lose our home.
You don't
Do
know
not
that for
send
sure.
us in.
You don't know that for sure, son. I can,
I,
man.
I'm learning about finance right now, Dad. That's what my homework assignment is. And yeah, you got to turn in work to get paid. Apparently, okay. This is shit. This is shit, Dad.
Okay, well that seemed unnecessarily hurtful, son.
I'm
Well, give me
sorry. It's. I know you're trying. I know you're
look.
trying. But I'm nervous. I need a roof over my head. Okay. I need food in my belly.
I know you need both of
I
those
need to get
things.
some more pens. I know there's a virus out there, but we got to man up and get some pens.
Son. Well, damn. I mean, shit, man. I wish I could get more pens, man. But man, I ain't got no pen buying money, son. What do we look like, Richard Richenstein over here? We can just buy pens when we want. We got to work with what we
Maybe if
got.
you turn in some work, you would have some money for our pens. Okay? I'm sorry,
Well,
Dad. I'm being hard on you. I'm being
yeah,
hard
you
on you.
real hard, son. Damn, son,
I'm
chill there.
hungry. I'm hungry. We have not eaten for 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I know. I'm hungry too. You think I ain't hungry? Man, I'm hungry right now. Damn it! But shit, I got papers to scratch over here, son. I got papers to
Mm,
scratch. I mean,
you
trying
say
to stay
you're
up.
hungry, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I know I had a whole box of oatmeal in the cupboard, and now it's gone.
Oh,
And
come on,
Mom has been
son.
out of town. Uh huh.
You really gonna hit me with that right now? I'm over here trying to
I'm just
scratch my
curious.
work up to present to my boss, and you hit me with the whole oatmeal thing again. When you gonna let it
You know
die?
that when you why are you letting me die, Dad?
No,
That's my
no, no.
question.
Okay.
welcome to uh, welcome to my gym. Here, you want to get in shape, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm here to get in shape, man. I'm sorry, I couldn't help laugh, man. I've never been in the gym before. I never knew they looked like this on the inside.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You like what we got here? Mirrors everywhere,
The-
ceiling, floors.
Yeah, boys, that's wow, man. It's a lot of mirrors, man. I didn't know working out involves so much mirror action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to see yourself in order to know what you're improving, my friend. And let me tell you something right here. What I'm looking at right now
Oh, what? Looking.
needs a lot of improvement. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. So let's get you signed up today. All right. All right, man. I know you can do it. You got this. Let's sign you up today, man.
Oh, yeah, that's what we do. We just hurry up and sign. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, let's sign up.
That's right. I believe in you. I believe in you. Here's some paperwork right here. All right. Okay. So it's only going to be about $29.99 the first month, right? But if you want to get somebody involved, like a family member, it'll go to $49.99. But the nice thing is you get a rebate. So once you send that in the mail, you get that money right back. So it's almost like it's nothing.
Wow, boy, you really made that sound tantalizing. I gotta say,
I
man,
know.
yeah. Let's sign up on this bad boy, baby, right there. These my
Once you
papers,
do
homie.
that, you're maybe. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And looks good. Looks good. Okay. So what's your biggest motivation for working out with us here at Tread Gym?
But come on, man. I mean, look, I want to get big and swole to impress the girls, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did your ex break up with you or something?
I look. I I've seen your commercial. You know I saw your commercial. My ex broke up with me. Yes, that's why I'm here because you
That's
played the
right.
damn.
Everyone here broke up with their ex 2 months ago. Yeah. 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 It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Just ain't
Okay.
fair,
You
man.
got to You have to admit it. You have to admit that you're nothing.
But,
Okay. Yeah,
but I
we don't
tried.
believe in breaking people down
But
here in
no,
order to
but
build them back up.
I,
Okay,
I
that's the
tried
thing.
in the relationship though. I tried real hard. I'm not nothing. I
You
tried.
tr- you tried hard. You said it
Yeah,
still
real.
didn't work.
No,
Okay, it's
no.
because when you try hard, things usually work.
Uh,
Okay,
uh,
keep trying.
uh, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I had
Yeah.
limits, man.
How about you actually just do, huh? How about you
Uh,
watch some Star Wars? Just
uh,
do not
uh,
try. Right. All right. How you doing? Feeling good? Feeling all right? Huh? Is it working for
uh,
you, pal?
I feel real broken down inside, man. I
Yeah.
feel like all my efforts were in vain. I don't know why I tried, man.
Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly it. All right. You got this, man. You got this. All right. All right. Going back into it. Okay. All right. You miserable four-eyed freak. Huh?
Oh,
Maybe you need some. Maybe you need some. Eat some more carrots in your diet, huh? Huh,
hey,
Mister?
what? I guess I
Huh?
could eat more carrots. She always did complain about that. Oh,
Yeah.
Margaret,
Yeah.
why
You're
didn't I
probably
eat carrots?
squinting at her. You probably can't even see her, and she's like, "Why is he squinting at me?" Huh?
All right, that's 10
Oh, is that
minutes.
really real?
Oh, man.
That was some violent improv, man. I'm sorry.
The,
I played nothing but dick characters.
the, yeah, man, that was interesting.
That was a little bit interesting. It feels still similar to some of the characters we played last time.
The, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's weird, man. I'm out of practice. Yeah,
I
you
know,
got nothing.
same. But something feels a little bit different. I think I'm channeling a lot of hate and just getting it out.
Yeah. And also, it's doing it over the Skype or the webcam's a little different too.
It is. There is something I think. One of my favorite exercises is just kind of like character stuff. I was going across the stage, whatever you're leading with makes the character. There's so much of that when you do tap outs and edits that you just can't do here. But, yeah, no, that wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well,
I just appreciate you talking with me about everything that's been on my mind, man. You helped out a lot, actually.
oh, well, glad I was able to do that, man. I just came, had a good time. Thought it was a good little stream, little broadcast.
Yeah. Let's see, we got almost like 2 hours.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, give your brother and your uncle my best, man, and your family, your nephew.
All right. Hold on a second. Let me end the broadcast. Let me wrap this up officially, the live show.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe. I mean, I ain't got nothing a whole lot else to say. It was just, it was a good time. It was fun. I hope somebody out there enjoyed. We had a couple people for a little bit. But anyway, folks, I've been Demetrius, and of course, thanks to Habibi Ali for coming and joining me for this discussion. This has
Thank you,
been the
guys.
Crab Walk of Shame stream, homie. See y'all next time. And boom, baby.